Hi, this is Privateer Station. And as Russia throws the remainder of their missile stash into energy and civilian targets in Ukraine, Olexiy and Mark discuss day 229 of this insane Putin's invasion on the territory of Ukraine, in the usual form of conversation between Olexiy Arestovych, Lieutenant Colonel Advisor to the Office of the President of Ukraine, and Mark Feygin, Russian opposition journalist. Enjoy. Dear friends, glad to see you all on Feigin Live. It is Monday, October 10th, 10 p.m. in Kiev, and we are doing the usual stream on our channel, day 229, with Olexiy Arestovich. Olexiy, glad to see you. Good evening. Of course, we have 105,000 watching us live, 22,000 click the like button. I still call upon you to share links to that stream in your media, in your social media, with your friends, and subscribe to Feigin Live, to Olexiy Arestovich, and to the Privateer Station if you are listening or watching that in English. Alright, let's start with the main news. The hits on the territory of Ukraine, down by Moscow today. Tell us in general what you know, the numbers, how many missiles, how many were shot down. According to the data of the General Command, Russia launched 83 missiles, 43 were downed, 24 UAVs, out of them 13 were Iranian mopeds. That's separate from missiles, right? Shahed 136, not all of them were wearing munitions, carrying munitions, 13 were observers. Ukraine anti-air defense destroyed about 50% of targets, in case of UAVs over 50%, and this is also with a massive strike when they oversaturate the sky with the missiles, and it makes it more difficult to shoot them down. There were about 3 waves. One in the morning, one was around 4 p.m. They hit more than 8 regions, about 14 cities. They indeed attacked Dnieper and Kiev a lot. They were mostly hitting energy infrastructure. Didn't even try to destroy anything military installations. They were just hitting the civilian targets that generate electricity or heat. Out of civilian targets, they hit an intersection in Kiev, 5 people dead, 16 wounded. Among them, there was one mother who, according to some data, lost her husband a year ago. She dropped a kid at the daycare and was returning home on the vehicle. After this missile strike, the boy is an orphan. So we do have more families to support. Of course we will. I heard the opinion, the official opinion. Some officials do not consider that to be a response to what happened on the Crimean Bridge. They're basically saying this is a missile terror, just slightly increased in scale. That would have there been a Crimean Bridge? Would have there not been a Crimean Bridge? Mark, look, it looks like this. Putin was looking for a way to escalate things. He needs escalation to deal with internal concerns in Russia, public opinion of the group that they touch upon daily and interact, the group that is looking at him as, can our leader still do anything, or is he already a weakling? So this is answering their aspirations. I wouldn't say that the bridge is completely not connected to it, but he did, because he did include that into his statement, and it is presented as their response to the bridge incident, to the attack on the bridge. But At least this is the way they're presenting this missile strikes today. By the way, did you see the person who signed a contract, signed a decree on joining these territories to Russia, and the person who was making today's statement are two very different people. Just visually, they are different. I don't know, Olexiy, this, yeah, we're going into the weird territory of conspiracy stuff. Well, yeah, but imagine the difficult destiny of Miss Kabaeva, who comes to her at night. Right, yeah, this is interesting. They are probably different, right? And frankly, you don't really know who's coming to you at night after all that, every night. Yeah, oh man, this opens a whole new can of worm. Right, okay, so all the joking aside, they did present this as an answer to the group of their population that demanded an answer to the Crimean Bridge, because it was his sacred stick that got broken, and they needed to respond in some fashion. So they packaged this as a response. Now, in Ukrainian internet, there is a blooming discussion if that was indeed an answer to that, or did they just increase the usual degree of their attacks with these new 8 regions, 16 cities, towns. But every time, let's just look at this, every time they do something idiotic. This time they sent 85 multiplied by 5, no, by 3. So they lost $300 million in one day. Almost $200 million were shot down. And let's see which targets did they hit. In most of the cities, everything is restored already. They initially were left without water or electricity for a few hours. And frankly, in the country that has 16 nuclear power plants, is rather difficult to leave this country without power. You can create certain problems with distribution, but you cannot really leave this country without power. You can refer to historic precedent when NATO was trying to weaken Yugoslavia. They've been working for 2 months destroying Yugoslavian infrastructure before things happened on the ground. And small Yugoslavia, which is roughly what, Kiev and maybe one more region, still weathered that pretty well. So here it is a similar result. Putin's hits did not achieve much. We will rebuild whatever they destroyed. We already reconnected most of the water and electricity in the cities, but they did, again, push the world to a massive resistance to his operation. And they were, slowly, the world was starting to bring up an idea of, okay, let's talk to Putin again. After these strikes, this idea is brought back to the graveyard where it belongs. So other European countries and our allies are increasing energy weapon supplies to us. By the way, some of the embassies, some of the Western embassies were destroyed. Not fully destroyed, but suffered. Embassy of Romania, some of the German property in Ukraine. And frankly, by the way, Embassy of Romania is considered to be Romanian territory, so Putin just hit Romanian territory. And the question about anti-air defense is going to be resolved now, because it definitely is an agenda. This attack carries signs of a genocide in a certain aspect of it. And when genocide happens, you cannot remain neutral. According to the modern law, international law, our Ministry of Internal Affairs already reacted to that and said that the country that constantly violates United Nations Charter and acting as a terrorist cannot be a member of United Nations. And our president will be talking to UN and other organizations, and there likely will be an interesting fallout from this attack by Putin's regime on Ukraine. and it will likely exceed any imaginary and real use for Putin and his fellows in Russia. So if anything, we became angrier, the sanctions grew. If these people knew how to play chess, they would have not done that step. But to appeal to a certain part of their group, I guess, and to underscore that the boss is the boss and he needs to respond, they got themselves deeper into trouble. Okay, a lot of questions are being asked. Can the hits on the territory of Russian Federation become response to that attack? Well, we don't hit Russian Federation, Mark, but Kursk, Belgorod, and the other regions next to Ukraine with military targets, we don't hit them, but they keep burning. We are not hitting the territory of Russian Federation. Evil tongues are saying that military installations are burning, but again, we insist that it is their personnel that is violating safety rules and keep smoking in wrong places and setting things ablaze. We have about 300,000 watching us live. Thank you for spending Monday night with us. Please continue sharing links to that stream everywhere you think fit to make sure more people see us. By the way, tonight there could be a continuation, and they might be working with calibers from the Black Sea launched from the Russian Navy. They'll likely continue hitting same targets? Yeah, they'll be probably hitting energy infrastructure. They've investigated with the first hit certain targets and how do we respond to their attack, so they likely will try once again with some information that they have. So I do appeal to our citizens, please, when you hear the sirens, go to shelters. And at the same time, besides caliber that is very accurate, they're still shooting S-300 and others that are less accurate, and they also hit some towns in Zaporozhye. And S-300s fly real fast, and from short distance we don't have, in 2/3 of cases, we don't have time to announce a threat in the air, and you don't have time to cover, so perhaps just spend the night in a shelter. Because when they're using cruise missiles, those we can warn in advance about, but S-300s, they are a little closer and a little faster. So, again, coming back to the anti-air defense systems, if in general you had more, for example, if you had one, you would have two, so instead of 100, you would have 200, would that be a higher level of them being shot down? Oh yeah, it would be 75 or 90%. So indeed, this actually directly translates into defense, right? So if these German area systems were supplied, not one, but 100, Mark, 100? 100 would cover our country with Iron Dome, nothing will penetrate that. But they don't have 100 in the whole German army. They are planning to give 4 now and 3 later. What can work? Well, they're all different in characteristics. NASAMS is good, Ares is good, but they do use different tools. Our problem is we're the biggest European country, and it is very difficult to cover us fully, especially when the attacks are coming from different angles, because anti-air defense usually holds a sector, it doesn't hold a whole 360. So what they're doing a massive strike to oversaturate our capability to counter that and to target their missiles. With what we have now, we cannot intercept everything, so we do need to increase the numbers, and yeah. But they are shooting at us with old, like Mammoth style rockets. It's not too difficult to shoot them. It's not simple, but it's not crazy difficult. We just need more systems to shoot it down, because they're using old stuff like Ha-55 and 22. And, we're appealing to the audience. We have a big audience watching us. We need to reiterate that. So you need more, right? Yes, we do need more. Our president was talking to European leaders today, and he did mention in his statement that they did talk about anti-air defense. All right, I understand why Germans don't have too many air systems, but I understand because they don't see aerial attacks in their country in any future. Well, it's another problem with Germany because the previous leadership, Merkel, destroyed their military. From 26 brigades, they barely have 6 now. So, yeah, that's a weird inheritance from Merkel times. We have almost 400,000 watching us now. People keep coming. These are good numbers. Okay, another question about Iranian drones. They keep supplying those Shaheds to Moscow. They exist, right? It's not even a question. Even kids see their remnants. Yeah, what they call in Russia? Geranium? Yeah, geranium, schmeranium. This is kind of not good from Tehran's side. Do they know that? Yeah, it is pretty bad, right? I think they do know. How do these questions get solved in the world? What needs to be done to preclude that in the future? I would think the simplest answer would be to destroy Iranian manufacturing base. So, let's say Israel could possibly do that in their strike? Yeah, they could, but they're not in a rush to fully quarrel with Russia. Their leader today condemned the use of these UAVs, but again, from condemnation to physical destruction of the factory is a long way. Yeah, it's a long way, and also they could do that, or American group could have destroyed the Iranian Central Command if they wanted to, and that would have been probably would have stopped these supplies. But very often countries do follow the strategy of minimal risk. So it does mean then that Iran got something in return for these Shaheds. They got Su-35 according to some data. It's rumors, but yeah, there's supposed to be a resupply to Russian army that was diverted to Iran. So this is not confirmed, but could be. That's probability, the bare minimum. I don't know, Su-35, how much good will they do for Iran, but there are also some people talking about some lab technologies and some nuclear technology that Iran needs because their nuclear production suffers without some tech, and Putin's regime could have given them that. So yeah, we have a fiery member of Security Council of United Nations. Yeah, that's quite a member. Speaking of member, yeah, it probably keeps surprising Kabayeva with whoever version of Putin comes back at night. Okay, so what's the background of all that? They keep shooting. Let's take a look at the map. They're making those stern faces, but the situation on the front, I would say, is not candy-like. No, it's not. There are some videos today. There are Mobics, newly mobilized people near Svatova. Do you think it's fake? Do you think it's real? Oh, we know they're there. They've been there for a week already. Part already dead, part captured, some fighting. The most interesting is happening near Bakhmut right now. We'll get there. So if we are following the map of Deep State, evil tongues are saying this is one of the most precise. I don't know, I'm not releasing any official information, I'm just commenting on the map. According to that map, our troops are very close to Svatova. Let's go back up. Here it is. So we are approaching it. Some things may happen around Svatova, and this is a big road junction. And by the way, your offense line is rather straight. Yeah, it's somewhat straighter. Remember, several days ago, there was we were just growing a field on the right side of the river, and now everything is totally properly colored. We have enough room for resupply, for regrouping and maneuver. And that will likely reflect on the destiny of Svatova. Do Putin's troops undertake anything on that front? Oh yeah, they are even trying to counterattack. I'm not going to go into details, but they even tried to counterattack in a few parts. They were also going to prepare for a mighty counterstrike, but it didn't quite work because a big chunk of them died. What? Died. Oh yeah, these things happen at front. You know, soldiers sleep at night in barracks thinking that the motherland is protecting them, and then HIMARS says otherwise. So, do these mobilized die near Svatova? Oh yeah, they do. They die in Svatova, near Svatova, all around it. Things keep flying in and hitting targets. So they mostly perish from artillery and such. Yeah, they do. And what about the front line? They're also there. They're trying to attack. There's the backbone is BARS, the Russian Federation troops, cadre as we call, and now they're refitted with newly mobilized, and they're trying to throw them now together with cadre into the fray, and they heroically perish in battle. You know why it's important? We do want to see the consequences of these people dying, of these mobilized people dying on the front, because we've been warning them for a while and they think it's entertainment. It's chips and popcorn. We want to see that. Yeah, over there, definitely, we don't have thousands of them on that direction, but definitely dozens. Intercepts, how do you get the data? All system of intel. Intercepts, other means. So on that video we've seen... Oh, that video was shot by themselves, the guys sitting and discussing. Where are they putting that? Oh, they're just shooting it for memory. They're probably sending it to their wives and to their friends, and friends put it out. Or maybe, you know, sometimes they captured somebody's phone and took somebody's phone. It doesn't matter how that video got into the web. So, on this first data coming from the front, does it give any advantage to them, in your opinion? Nothing, right? Okay. Well, they have mass. So factually, then a battalion, instead of 50 people, will be trying to advance in our positions. There will be 250 of them. But given who is advancing, their quality is pretty low, and Ukrainian artillery puts them back in place rather fast. There is a discussion about that, and in Russia they're discussing that. Right now there'll be a change on the front. After the first fight, oh yeah, I heard that one battle in, they'll learn, they'll be professionals. In 2-3 months, they'll kick everybody's butt. My question is, do they have these 2-3 months? Well, maybe out of 215 will remain alive, and maybe we'll even train a little. But in 2-3 months, you can't become a professional in warfare, especially in this warfare, where your chance of surviving is 50-50 at best. Oh, if there was some positional war, you know, you shoot here, run there, they could have at least trained them a little. Well, you know, professional training, it takes a long time. Plus, it also entices character and skills, and a person, even with some training, but without professional set of an officer, and a soldier is not a professional. I would even say that the system of values and the way the person treats what he is doing, this is important, because professional skills are one thing, but real military professional is another. Because some people who've been to war, you know, many people have been, and they've seen different things, and some of them actually may have better skills than professional cadre military, because of what they were doing there. But did they become professional? They just have some experience. It's about the viewpoint on life, about, you know, the bravery, courage, decision-making, skill, and all together. That's going back to the Soviet times. Remember, the soldier used to stay in the military for 2 years, because the first year they were training him, behaving and fighting in different weather conditions, winter, spring, summer, autumn. And then the second year is when your psychology changes, when you learn how to gauge and calculate your decisions on the front line. And that's where experience matters too. Because even in the military, very often they would be asking generals and colonels and leadership, do they have experience? Or even, people, forces on the ground, do they have experience fighting in these conditions? Have they fought in winter? Have they defended positions? Have they crossed water barriers? So it is a lot of specificity in that. And perhaps somebody may learn near Svatova to behave in a certain manner, do certain things, and fight more or less successfully. But if they advance or retreat or change the position on the front, these skills may go out of the window just because the front changed. So it is a combination of different factors. What about Lysychansk and Severodonetsk? Same story. They're trying to advance, and we keep kicking them back. This is the same idea, and they have not abandoned that. Same logic from Sporne to Kupinsk. So let's take a look at Bakhmut. It's in the middle of the map with a lot of red arrows. There they got refitted with criminals, with released criminals from prisons, and they refitted them in some huge numbers. But these guys they just keep walking over their dead bodies. And Russia still has concentrated artillery. That's the only place in the front where they have some artillery advantage, and it's a bit hard for our troops to cover from that. And then, they made, on the Russian side, 6 Storm Brigade and some others supported by artillery. So what happens? They shell artillery on us. We weather that, retreat, lose some people. Then these inmates proceed to capturing that area. We kick them out, take it again, then they repeat the cycle all over again. It's a bit difficult there right now because of the number of resupplies they got. How many people? Are we talking hundreds, thousands? Thousands, several thousands. Okay, that's interesting. So that's all private military, right? That's Wagner? Yeah, that's what they gathered in different prisons in Russia. So how are they fighting? They don't. They just walk forward. They just, move. One of the captured gave us descriptions of what they do. They basically were sending professional Russian military intel or DNR, LNR, those fake republics. They were basically showing the way, and after them there were 50, 40 inmates with weapons, and they were trying to use the results of artillery shelling and capture positions, but they got surprised by our troops, and most were killed. We got one guy, and he shared that information. Okay, let's go further down. Donetsk, Gorlovka. That's to the south of Bakhmut. And to the right of Bakhmut, according to the map, they took a crossing M03. That intersection was, there is nothing there. Ground forces don't show any heroism, but they're just shelling with artillery. And on the right, on the left, they are missing artillery, but on that intersection, they concentrated everything and they captured it. It won't last for too long, but, tactical advantage a little bit they got there. Gorlovka, let's go south. Gorlovka, Donetsk. Here, the red arrows show the usual places where they try to move, to Visolia, to New York, but without any success. It's a very specific defense region, it's very specific positions that we built there, and all these Zerg rushes that they try to overwhelm us with, they're pretty futile. Now, in Peski, near Donetsk, they tried to push a little further. They didn't quite work for them, and I don't think it will. In Marinka, they made an effort, also it was kind of useless. In Zaporozhye, it's relatively quiet, if we're not counting the missile strikes. We proceed to Kherson area. Here, evil tongues are in the Russian forums are saying that while everybody is giddy about missile strikes on Kiev, they're saying that Russian side has issues on the ground in Kherson. Our side did not acknowledge anything, did not reveal much, but on the Russian side in forums, they are discussing things. So if you take a look at this map and you see in the upper right side a bit more gray, there is one little protrusion near Kakhovka. Sorry, not Nova Kakhovka, Nova Kamenka. So you can kind of guess what's happening there. Are we pushing towards Nova Kakhovka, by the way? Yeah, we are, but I cannot disclose details because, our general command has not released any official data. But we are proceeding. Everything will be all right on Kherson. They will become very polite and good there very soon. Do you think it'll be before the cold comes? Oh yeah, I think so. So something like that. Belarus. Let's go take a look at Belarus. We will. I need to announce something. Do we need a map? Map. We could. Yeah, we could. Why not? Alright. We have almost 580,000 people watching us live. This is a record. First time we got that high. And over a third of you clicked the like button. Come on, people, push a little further. Let's bring it higher than 600,000. Please keep liking and sharing links, because every time you do that, we get new viewers. By the way, according to the stats, I start to get more Russians. It seems like Mobilized finally decided to figure out what is actually going on the front. Not from fake Konashenkov, speaker of the Russian Ministry of Defense. This is a weak dynamics, but it definitely is present. So we do expect Russian segment to increase. There is a good Russian saying. Yeah, it's... the trouble is really troubly at the beginning. So let's take a look at Lukashenko. He is showing scary eyes, saying scary words, and he is saying that Arestovych himself probably is carrying out the scary thoughts about attacking Belarus and maybe destroying his own family and his however wives many he has. Yeah, that like in the old kids' fairy tale about cockroach who was very scary for all the animals. Do you think he's doing all that pantomime for Putin? Just to get him off his back, or... I would agree to all the trainings and all the everything you state publicly, just get off my back. Is that what's happening? Yeah, I think they started using that little training book from the 24th of February back in the year. Some media already peddling that. They're saying Belarus is preparing for the fight. Some diversion groups are already in Ukraine. There are already fights ensuing on the border. I want to calm you down, people. Belarus is not... Lukashenko regime is completely not ready to weather or carry out any military operations. Why? Tell us more. Why? Because, first of all, they gave over 100,000 of munitions to Russia. Artillery shells and all that. In the recent training, they wasted a lot of fuel, motor resource and all. And third, they don't really want to do that. They don't have much weapons, they don't have uniforms, kind of similar to a Russian situation with logistics. They don't want to do that, and their president is making all these postures to basically appease Putin. They said that they created certain groups, but they are so far administrative groups, if anything. There are no Russian troops worth mentioning in Belarus, and they have some UAVs. So why does Putin state that they created some joint force? Because Putin is requesting. He does basically turn to Belarus and said, "You effort, at least support me with some media." So yeah, they're squeaking, and they're saying that Polish army is refitting, that Zelensky may attack Belarus. Whoever attacks Belarus will deathly regret that. It's like an old movie, remember, old comedy. This is what's gonna happen with everybody who offends me. The character tries to get higher and face slap somebody, but failed. So yeah, what they intend to do is to send some mobilized troops to Belarus and put them on the Belarus border together with Belarus troops, and not even advance, but just hold some of our troops on that border. But under some condition, Putin might decide to just send them into a walk to Kiev. If certain conditions show up on the front. You mean just walk with whatever AKs? Yeah, pretty much. If they had enough troops there, they could have done it, so... And what will happen to them? Well, they'll all perish. We'll kill all the invaders. But what's the goal? What's the strategy? Yeah, just to pull some of our reserves to that front. You know, they will not have much armor or anything with them to fight with, but it will hold some of our troops on the northern border. And it won't be a tragedy for us. It'll be a tragedy for the mobilized on that front. Again, the probable survival strategy would be to kind of go into the woods and hide there. But if you join our fight, or if you figure a way to surrender, we'll find a way to hold you and cover you, and nobody knows how you surrendered in the fight or not, and we'll provide enough cover. So there is a good survival strategy for y'all. We have a couple messages here, a couple more jokes in the chat, a couple more jokes about Kabaeva, and you guys will have 1 million watching you. I need to say, you know, as an officer, I cannot, there's a limit to how much can a dirty joke on these matter. Let me make a joke. Oh, imagine how much data can she pour about Putin's doubles, or, you know, her gymnastics splits with each of them. Yeah, no, I haven't heard anything, Mark. Yeah, well, gymnastics, you know, jumps and all. Mark, I'll tell you, she's a lady, right? Please, let's stay mum. Okay, she's a lady. We have no claims on her. No claims on her. Okay, Biden also came out today, said that it reinforces our will to support Ukrainian people. European Union also made a statement to support Ukraine, and that they'll cover expenses for winter season in Ukraine, so nobody will freeze over. Keep that in mind. I want to talk about that a little. Also, oh yeah, the Security Service of Ukraine actually opened criminal cases against Medvedev and many other tops of Putin's leadership. And interesting that Bastrykin on the Russian side countered that with their criminal investigations into Ukrainian leadership. But that's his old, sport. They've been doing that for a while. I guess their main reason, or official reason, was Surovikin, who is the commander of that operation, who Ukraine added to the list of criminal prosecutions. What's the reasoning behind all that? Because we do understand that it maybe is something for the future. All that criminal prosecution, that is definitely not, doesn't have any fruit in the current moment. You know, Mark, why the heck not? Because when you do have some criminal prosecution against them, some criminal case against them, 700 Russian bureaucrats and people making decisions, it's good to have it, right? When they'll be eventually fleeing the country and trying to, run somewhere in the world, we'll take a net and we'll start catching them with Interpol. I have another question here, though. There is, as it was confirmed on the Ukrainian side by the head of your military intel, that there is something reminiscent of Mossad structure to hunt them down. Oh, for that, Mark, we don't need any criminal cases. We do have a lot of people really upset with these figures. So, remember, they've been screaming that stop doing terror acts or killing our people. Their destiny is pretty glum because nobody is going to forgive them. Military crimes have no expiration date. And usually people were attacked for executing things. Here you have a bunch of... you added to criminals the whole bunch of bureaucrats and military officers, higher-ranking officers. Yeah, but I would say they'll be lucky if we catch them with Interpol, because they're also partisans, and we cannot entice partisans to do something that they don't want to do. They're, self-management structures, and we can only say, "Ooh, that's bad. We did want to bring that person to court." Also in Europe, there's a bunch of relatives and families of these Putin's administration. Well, I think their relatives are not targets even for partisans. We're civilized people, but what about the functionaries themselves, those bureaucrats who are making decisions about this war? Oh, yeah, those are definitely legit targets. And, they could be French partisans, Italian partisans. Italians actually have good traditions in that manner. They do, yeah. Remember that song, O Bella Ciao? Might be the last song they hear. All right, we got a record today, 601,000 viewers. This is a lot. Let's hope that this leads to future achievements, and 602 already. This is a good milestone for us. We understand that people are looking for additional support, additional information, some ideas. Come here, we'll support you. By the way, I'm often getting asked how much more missiles Russia has. With their wise use, they will have enough till spring. Wise use is about 5-10 missiles per day. But 5-10, that's easy for us. We shoot them down. So I want to say the strikes like happened today, they can repeat maybe twice, 3 times, but this cannot become a system. So don't be afraid that they will destroy our energy system or destroy our warehouses. This is baseless. They don't have enough reserves for that. They are wasting strategic stash of their missiles for media purposes. Today's strike for 90% is really just a media purpose hit. And to show that their leader still got some macho in him and he's responding to attacks. Yeah, so as Mark says, his fallen manhood. Mark, did you say fallen manhood? Yes, I did. Okay, yeah, so they're propping up his fallen manhood. They're creating a media picture, but in reality, they don't have enough reserves for that, so don't be afraid. Okay, we've been live for 45 minutes. We have a stream tomorrow, right? Yes, of course. 602,200 people watching us live. Big ask to all of you, please continue sharing links to that stream in your Facebook and your contact and your other social networks. This definitely helps to promote us and promote the information we're sharing here. Don't forget to click the like button. That also affects the YouTube's recommendations, and subscribe. Do not forget to click subscribe and the bell button for Feygin Live, Olexiy Arestovich, and the privateer station if you are listening or watching that in English. And sleep well. And that too, and we'll see you tomorrow. Don't miss the stream at 10 p.m. Kiev time with Olexiy Arestovich. We will see him again. Goodbye, everybody. Everything will be good.